So, wanted to talk real quick about lack of education, lack of financial education. So something that I was just talking with my business partner about a moment ago, and I said to him, I was like, "Yo, listen, man. You've heard of intergenerational wealth, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've heard of that." And I was like, "Yeah, it's usually where you pass it down from you to your child, so on and so forth." And I was like, "Have you heard of dynastic wealth?" And he was like, "Dynastic? You mean like dynamic wealth?" And I was like, "No, dynasty wealth." And I feel that a lot of us don't know, a lot of like black people, black millennials especially, don't know these terms and what they mean, and like how important they are to the what the hell? This is weird. How important they are to damn it, that could have sucked. How important they are to our own health in our own like sub-society. And I think it's an issue that we need to rectify, we need to correct, we need to start having ourselves and our children focus on these things and look deeper into these things and say, hey, listen, I don't want just regular wealth. I want dynastic wealth. I want wealth that will create a dynasty, that starts something from nothing and your family can trace it back years. I'll try and link the video into the description, but this one video gentleman had, and it still amazes me, it's something that's very motivating and empowering to me, but this one gentleman, he said he could trace his family's lineage back to the 1100s. The building that he runs his family bank out of is in a building that was there since World War II, and maybe even World War I, maybe. And it was the only one that not destroyed, and he's German, and the only one that was not destroyed during the war, during all the bombing. So I see something like that, and I'm like, that's it. That's what you should be striving for. That's what we should be teaching our children to strive for, to look at, to look after even. And understanding that, hey, listen, it's you're passing the torch on, and the importance of passing the torch on and making sure that it stays lit and the flame grows stronger every succession. And it's like, I'm talking to my business partner who's a little bit older than me, but he doesn't know or hear these things. So it's like, and no offense to him, but he's not the only one. There's so many of them, and I use him as an example. Very smart guy, of course, But it's like some people, even the smartest of us, the top tier of us, or not so much the top tier, but actually, yeah, even the smartest of us that work in computers, because he's my business partner, my computer consulting firm. He's the one I started it with. We don't know these terms. We're not looking at these things. We're just like, hey, I want to get a nice house. And we were talking about, he was talking to his wife, and he was like, baby, we can follow Dave Ramsey, but we'll never have 50 grand in the account. Now, I didn't correct him, which now that I think about it, I should have. I should have said, no, you will. But I did tell him, just by doing, the regular stuff, unless you take a risk, unless you make some type of investment or do something drastic and make a sacrifice, no, you won't. But that's my take on it. That's how I usually do things. So I said to him, I was like, unless you make some type of move that can be game-changing, whether you fail or not, then yes, you will not be able to make, 50 grand and have it in the account sitting. And that's a problem. But also, you have to look at things in terms of a long term, and how you educate your child. And that's another thing I look at, and I'm like, we need to be looking in dynastic wealth, creating things that would build a dynasty. Not just having multiple kids, but having multiple kids that understand what's going to happen after you leave this earth, and being able to execute that plan, ones that you can trust, whether you do or not, and teaching them in the right way from birth, so that they will actually see the plan through and enact the change that you want in your own family and down the line. So I think it's very important that we start to look at some of these terms, some of these, look past intergenerational wealth. Let's look at dynastic wealth. Let's look at wealth that is passed on, and every generation, every iteration, or every successor takes that money and triples, doubles, quadruples, 100 times what have you on that money. It shouldn't just be as simple as I think I missed my turn. It shouldn't be just as simple as, all right, cool, you got the money and you double it. No, that's too little. You need to be taking my money or your grandfather's money, and you need to be doing more than that. Doubling should be the least. So I think that's something that's very important. I think that's something that's missing, and I think that's something that we have to really push onto our children. Put that pressure on them, whether they like it or not, so they understand that, hey, if you don't do it, the cycle will continue. As always, thank you.